Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Danny Pessy Show. I'm extremely excited. I've got one of my good friends and clients here, Jordan Benning, the one and only. You can't clone me. He's got a lot of haters and a lot of homies, some friends and some phonies. Back then, they didn't want him. Now he's hot. They all on him. Jordan, welcome to the show, man. I'm excited to freaking have you, man.
Likewise.
Dude, I've been trying to get you on air for years. I've been trying to get you to come out of the dark, but dude, you have been absolutely crushing it since transitioning into solar. You had your head down and finally you look up and you're doing what, 1,500 accounts a month out of nowhere?
Yeah.
And not out of nowhere, you've been putting in the time, but dude, it's an exciting one. So if you guys are tuning in right now, you want to listen to this. This is literally the only person in door-to-door history who's been the top sales rep, who's been the top office, who's been the top regional, and now running one of the top dealerships in solar. And I'm extremely excited to have you on here. We're going to talk a little bit about your history, talk about what's been going on, what you've done to be able to do that, because there's a lot of top reps. But the thing is to transition from being a top rep into a top dealer and having people on your squad that have been with you for 10 years now. Yeah. The loyalty speaks for itself. So, dude, welcome to the show, man. I'm excited to have you.
Likewise, I'm grateful to be here.
That's right, man. So, so tell us right now, what, for a lot of people that might not know you, you're basically one of the guys that crushed it at Vivint, top regional, top divisional, top VP, and then transitioned into solar, and now you're absolutely dominating as one of the top sales orgs in the entire space. So tell us, when did all this start? What was your background? For a lot of people that might not know you, when did you start? How did all that take place?
Yeah, so my story is probably similar to most. Got in the game around 2008. That was my first summer. Kind of went into a mindset of like, hey, I'm just going to go out there for a summer job, do this thing, go make a little bit of money, and get through school. And I think every year you kind of go through the motion. I think I had 3 or 4 years left of school, and I was like, hey, if I can go make X amount, pay for school, kind of have some money in my bank account, life would be good. And I never attacked this job, at least the first 4 years, in the mindset of I'm going to go do this forever. It was like kind of a means to an end. And I think, as the job progressed, 2008, I went out, struggled. Kind of people know the story. I kind of struggled at first. And so
I don't know the story.
The story is I blinked the first 3 weeks.
Really?
Fell them off the May. June had a little success. July did better. August killed it. And, it was kind of at that point, I had a really good August. I think I finished top rookie in the company.
What company was that?
A company called Vision Security. Remember that?
Yeah, Rasmussen.
Yeah. Rob Harris. And so I look back then and just kind of started back then in 2008, and then it just progressed. I think the next year I went out, 2009, I managed, made a little bit of more money. And then from there, it just kind of spiraled. And I think every year Vivint had to recruit, you work at a different company. They always are in your ear trying to get you to come over there. And then Blackstone bought Vivint then in 2012. And basically kind of head on to the top dudes in the industry to go to Vivint. And so it was kind of one of those things, like if you don't play for the Lakers, you hate the Lakers.
Yeah.
And I didn't live in Utah. I lived in Hawaii at the time, went to BYU Hawaii. And so I was like, we're going to go do this. I had a one office. Mm-hmm. I sold like 440 or 450.
I remember that year.
I had a big year the year before. And
that was that in Virginia Beach?
What's that? No, that was LA.
Because you sold in Virginia.
Virginia Beach was 2010.
Because I was in Virginia Beach in 2011.
Oh, yeah.
And I went in behind some of the turf that he was slabbing. I always see the ADT stickers that I get to door, and I'm like, damn, someone beat ADT.
That was kind of like my first big year. I think I sold, like pushed 300 third year doing the job. And yeah, like you said, man, it was kind of like a spiral effect where it wasn't until actually the year I went to Vivint, that last year, actually, my last year at Vision, I ran 2,000 accounts, sold about 450. Vivint was coming at us super hard. And I was like, you know what? This is probably going to be my last year doing this job. So I was like, if I can go to Vivint, we could all get a little bit of money, go to Vivint. We only had to stay there for a year. If it sucked, we got to leave. Yeah. And I was like, this is probably my last year doing the job. So let's go there. I could say, hey, I did it. Yeah. I sold for them. It was whatever. And I went there, and it was great. Yeah. My experience is probably different than a lot of people at the time, right? Yeah. A lot of people went for a year, and then bounced, went on to different things. I liked it. I liked being in a huge environment, super competitive, and you kind of elevate your game and go bring your A game every day. Yeah. And so I was super grateful for my time there. And then, Yeah, you went the same year.
So I went the same year in 2012, end of 2012. Pinnacle went out of business. I was their top rep that year, did 350, managed 2,600 accounts, brought over to Vivint, and we both had teams in New Jersey at the same time. I remember. And
I was in Pessy.
Yeah, right in there. And so me and you were knocking, and you were always in the same turf 2 weeks ahead. And we were chasing the 2010 Pinnacle accounts that had 42-month contracts. I was trying to beat you to them, but every turf I got to.
The DevCons.
And the DevCons, yes, because there was a 55% clause to buy them out. So, yeah, that was a fun year where we transitioned over. I got my ass handed to me that year.
Yeah, and to be honest, a lot of my office did.
Yeah.
What's funny is a lot of guys in that office that are still with me today, like the C.J. Adamsons, the Cam Kimballs, the Sean Kimballs, those guys, they were, I wouldn't say small time. They just hadn't really had a big breakout year ever until that year. That was kind of their breakout year. Yeah. And the following year, we went to Colorado Springs. From that office, I think we were number 2 or 3 biggest offices have been. We did like 3,200 accounts. From that office, I have 14 offices today.
Pop out from this.
So in 2014, from that office, I have 14 offices that's still with me today.
So that's the thing where a lot of guys that are watching this right now, you're seeing this back in the day, all these little guys would come out and try to run their own dealers currently. Back then, what do you think it was that you needed to know to take an office that killed it to turn it into 14? Because I don't think it all started just overnight. It's been a long time, but because there's a lot of guys on here that want to do that, and no one's done it in solar quite yet. A few guys have, like the Sunders and the big guys on the team, but and the leagues. But what would you say is something that you've done to be able to blow that up like that?
I think it's expectation management. I think it's leadership 101. I think whatever you want to go get out of your people, you got to go be first.
Got it.
And I think for me, I realized quickly, if this game's all about duplication, it's all about multiplication. We talked about it even back then. You know, if we're like, hey, if you made $200,000 last year, the goal is not to go make 215. If you can go make 200, you can go make 3. If you can go make 3, you can go make 5. Yeah. And it's thinking in terms of multiplication and duplication instead of addition. And I think so many people in this industry go into it with no long-term plan, no long-term vision, and therefore they're always thinking in terms of addition rather than multiplying duplication. And I look back, and dude, you kind of know the story. Like the time at Vivint, 98% of it was amazing. Yeah. And I like, dude, I've been removed for almost 3 years now. And so like I look back and I'm like super grateful. Yeah. A lot of good. A lot of, honestly, you know, corporate America. Yeah. A lot of whatever. But I try to look back and say, you know what? I don't think about the bad. I want to think about the good. I still have some good buddies there. They're killing it. For me, I've always tried to go, dude, I want to go win the race because I gave my best. I beat people at their best. Yeah. Like, I hope they dominate. I hope they crush. It's irrelevant to me. Yeah. And more importantly, it's like, dude, to go get the best out of yourself, to go get the best out of me, to go be the very best business owner, CEO, leader. Well, dude, you need to be in an environment where everyone's at their best. Yeah. So like the CEO, the dudes at Sunder, those are my buddies. I hope they crush. I hope Vivint crushes. Why? Because if everyone's crushing, it's going to go force everyone to go elevate their game, go perform at a higher level, and ultimately everyone's going to go make more money because of it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And that's a cool mindset. As you said something that really stuck out. You want to beat people at their best.
For sure.
Whereas a lot of people would say, hey, dude, I want this guy to trip up, or hey, have an error here.
100%.
And so.
And I think maybe because I've been on the other side, it's like, dude, everyone wants to publicize your failures, but no one wants to talk about your success. Yeah. And I'll take my success against anyone.
Yeah.
And dude, failure's been dramatic as well. But at the same time, I think, dude, you can't appreciate the good without going through the bad. Yeah. And I think for me, it's, dude, I want to play a long-term game with long-term people. Yeah. Right. And I think like the more long-term you think, this is an infinite game. Yeah. Like it's kind of like Alec Ramosi talks about. It's like, dude, the goal's not to get in shape. Like the goal's not to get ripped. The goal's to stay in shape forever. The goal's not to go be in business. The goal's to go be in business forever. Right. So when bad things happen, it's easy to overcome because I'm not in it for the short game. I'm in it for the long-term game. Yeah. So on the long-term scale, something, you know, bad things are always going to happen. Curveballs are going to come your way. You got to be able to go pivot, adjust, navigate the curveballs to go have the success.
Yeah.
Right.
And so going through the trenches like that, it requires having a solid squad. You have had not only a solid squad, but a solid squad of hitters that freaking produce, that hadn't left you, that wouldn't even think about leaving you. Like they get offered, I'm sure everyone, oh, I'll give you this, lower this. How do you build such loyalty with your folks that someone could offer them double, triple the pay and they wouldn't even look at it? What have you done that's been making you so damn amazing?
I think, it starts with, well, how did I treat my leaders, right? I had bosses that I protected. And I think if all 7 of them were here, they would all say the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They stayed in business. They had their jobs longer because of me. And I don't think anyone would deny that. I actually know for a fact they wouldn't, right? And so I think for me, it was like, okay, what's your job? Your job's to go make the people above you look better. And your job's to go make the people you work with more money than they would if they didn't work with you. Exactly. And so I always, those 2 things. Those are the 2 things. If I have a boss, I want to go make my boss look good.
Yeah.
And I want the people I work with to make more money with me than they would if they weren't with me. And then the higher you get, it's like 2 things. It's like, hey, dude, I want to go to bed at night. I know my people are in the best possible situation, make the most amount of money. And 2, it's like, I want to make sure they're making more money year over year and they're progressing in leadership year over year. If you can do those 2 things, and it's not hard, it's two simple things. Yeah. But if you can go do those 2 things, your people will follow you. Why? Because they're going to be happy. Yeah. People are happy when they're progressing leadership and making more money year over year. Yeah. And I think for me, it's like, dude, I have a lot of good buddies I work with. And dude, managing your friends, progressing your friends, developing your friends, it's a skill set. It's not, it's not easy. And dude, I wouldn't say it's completely smooth. Like guys get pulled in different directions. And I think for me, I just try and make sure that I'm doing everything I can as a leader to go set the highest pace possible in the best environment possible, giving them the best resources and opportunity possible. And I don't think I'm perfect. I think I make mistakes along the way, but I think overall it's been really good.
Yeah. And then it just speaks because your teams just keep freaking growing, man. And what I've seen now and what you said is really powerful is you always thought about making the guys above you look good. And now this next generation, the newer guys that are coming in, because I consult a lot of them and they get this call, it's like, oh, my manager sucks. This guy sucks. Like, why am I working for this company? I can go start up my own. Whereas with those guys that do that, they never make more. Like I compare the paychecks of the dudes that stick and stay versus the dudes that haven't gotten anything by starting their own dealer and haven't made any money.
Yeah.
So what would you say on that?
Yeah, I would say, dude, even a parrot can talk. And I think a lot of times in this industry, you get people that are like, oh man, I can go do it myself, then go do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, then go do it. Like the barrier to entry it's for everyone. And that's the beautiful thing about this job. Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Well, anyone has the opportunity to go do it. Very few can actually go do it, execute on a high level.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's easy to think, dude, you don't make more money by cutting out the dude above you. You know what I mean? You make more money by relying on the dude above you to help you grow and pull you to the next level. I always say, people that know me well, is like, okay, why did I like going to Vivint initially?
Yeah.
Well, dude, I went into an environment where there was a lot of people above me that were better than me.
Yeah.
And so it helped me. They all pulled me to their level way faster than I would be if I was a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
I want to be, at first, you want to be a little fish in a big pond. Yeah, right? And it's like, I want to be around talents. I want to be Draymond Green.
Yeah.
I want to be on the Warriors, right system, right coach, right environment that's going to help me go perform on a way higher level than I would if I was on a different team. And like, that's like leadership 101. Can you go create that environment?
Yeah.
And if people think they can go somewhere else to go do it, I tell everyone, go do it.
Yeah.
But be humble enough to come back. And the people that have left, I feel like we haven't lost. We haven't lost anyone. But there has been a few dudes who are actually pretty decent that left, and they've come back.
Yeah.
They've made more money here.
Yeah.
So.
And that's funny that you bring that up. It's like, dude, that's probably one of my favorite quotes is, you don't make more money by cutting the dude out above you. You make more money by relying on the dude above you to bring you up to his.
For sure.
And it's just so sad to try to telegraph that to these newer guys coming in the space. And, if you guys are watching this right now and you've ever thought about doing that, listen and re-listen to that part again, because that's coming from somebody that's lived it and seen it. And we always talked about it as the road always leads back to the guys that provide the most value. It's not about who pays the most. I mean, dude,
every deal looks amazing on paper.
Yeah.
And the only thing I always tell everyone, man, performance is reality.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, what are the weekly numbers? What's hitting your bank account? Like, that's performance. That's reality. What's on paper, it's all smoke and mirrors. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Dude, I've had the greatest deals on paper in the history of this industry.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's irrelevant. Like,
people fall for that.
100%.
So what would you say to the kid? He's like, dude, on paper, I'm going to make double what I...
Yeah. What I would say is long-term game with long-term people.
Yeah.
And like the more you can think long-term, the best indicator of the future is the past.
Yeah.
So when you see an environment like, oh, these guys have worked together for 10 years, okay, something must be right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying I'm the only one that's done it. I think guys with Sunder, Legacy, Vivint, there's talent. There's good talent within all those organizations, just like there's bad talent in all our organizations. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people have figured it out. But at the same time, I think, dude, that if the grass was greener everywhere, I haven't met anyone that's made crazy money jumping from here to here to here to here.
Yeah.
And dude, maybe they're out there. I just haven't met them.
Yeah.
I don't think there is though.
Yeah, and that's funny you said, because in my years I just had 15 active years knocking summer programs, and I only left the company voluntarily once.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think for you, what, twice?
Yeah. Depending how you look at it.
Yeah. So
one, they forced me.
One. Yeah. And that's another story. I don't know if you want to get into it, but there's sometimes someone has to take the landmine for the company.
Yeah.
And and that's where a lot of people it was a tough situation back 2-3 years ago at Vivint.
About 3.
And you were the poster child of the company.
Yeah.
And then when investors came in and had to expedite somebody, they threw you under the bus almost. I don't know if that would be what.
Yeah. And I mean, it sounded like it just happened again a couple weeks ago.
Really? Oh.
So it's like, for me, I don't hold that against anyone over there. Like I said, I have my friends are still my friends. There's dudes I've cut off, and it is what it is. I wish them nothing but the best.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times guys waste their energy and time on, this guy, it's like, I'm not worried about that. They cry. I don't care. It's irrelevant. I don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're doing good or doing bad, and I don't care.
Yeah.
Because it means nothing to me.
Yeah.
Right? And so, it kind of is what it is. I try and look at all the positive, like very good stepping stone. I learned a lot. There's some things I learned, good and bad, and take the good and the bad and go apply it and go execute and double and triple down and try and go bigger, be bigger and better.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, this is the infinite game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go do the seats forever. I'm trying to go retire a lot of people that have followed me for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's like, I'm trying to go build an organization that gives guys the best possible situation to make the most amount of money.
Yeah.
And I would argue, basically just off numbers, I had the top reps there.
Yeah.
And then they're now with me here, and then have more money.
Yeah.
So I would say we're doing fine. We're doing great. And I hope they're doing great.
Yeah.
And I don't care. You know what I mean?
And dude, it is so crazy because, it's always about replication. There's no success without successors. And, there's so many talented sales reps in the space, but there's nobody that's been able to replicate their process and been able to scale it. And that's what I find very, very tough about the coaching space is a lot of talented talent.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, getting that to be duplicated and imitated and being able to be replicated. And so for you, how have you been able to just make all your boys freaking dogs? Because there's hitters on there, but there's the missing piece. What is it? Is it just that you were the best salesman? What has been your sauce to help it?
No, to kind of go what you said too is like, they always say success is a catalog of failures. So going back to your question before is, how do you go experience success if you haven't had failures? If you had, like behind more mountains are more mountains. Like you only know the good because you've had the bad, right? And I think with that being said, in those moments of chaos, and some would call crisis, is, dude, the person most calm in crisis wins. And I think those are the times for me I've been able to reflect on who am I?
Yeah.
What am I what am I made of? What do I want to go do?
Yeah.
Right? Is it bigger than me? Is the mission bigger than me? And it has to be. And so I look at the people I work with, as a leader, the bigger you get, it's not how much money you make, it's how many more leaders can you create? How much money can you help them go make? Yeah. How much more money can you help them go make? And I think for me, that's kind of been it, is how can I go cultivate an environment that forces guys to go produce on a crazy high level? And dude, it's not for everyone, right? This is the big leagues, it's the NFL, right? And it's dude, not everyone likes that. Not everyone thrives playing for Alabama. Some people want to go play at Salt Lake Community College. And if that's you, go do it. You know what I mean? But that's not us, and that's not an environment I want to go create.
Yeah.
Big league zone. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, man. And that's really powerful. And so what would you say right now to somebody that's in the space right now and they're debating on leaving their organization or doubling down on themselves? They're like, oh, shit, I can go do it myself, or stay within their org and help blow it up. What would you tell a person in that situation?
Yeah, I would say a couple things. I would say never in the history of the world has been a to work for the little guys. I don't think there's a dude at Radio Shack today thinking, hell yeah, today's the day we go dominate Apple and Amazon and Google, right? I would say, like, to go be the best version of yourself, you got to go be in an environment that's going to go make you a little uncomfortable. And usually that means in a bigger environment around crazy talent.
Yeah.
And so if you're working for the little guy, you're working for Radio Shack, I would say leave, right? I would also say, I think the best thing you can do is go look yourself in the mirror and dude, this job's crazy because it's extreme accountability. It's extreme ownership. At the end of the year, you're going to get a 1099 saying this is how hard. And there's no one else you can blame but yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe there's 2 or 3% that can go elsewhere. 97, 98% is it's all you, right? And so I would take that very seriously. Like for me, what I tell everyone is like, yo, when you put that shirt, you put that badge on every day in this job, you have the opportunity to go reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
And I would say the best humans' biggest superpower is the ability to change.
Yeah.
And every day in this job, you get to go say, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And look at yourself. It's like, dude, you're a top rep. Now you're coach.
Yep.
Now you're mentoring others. Like you reinvented yourself.
Yep.
Like there's going to be times of chaos, times of crisis, times of reflection where you're like, yo, I got to go reinvent myself. I'm not happy with who I am.
Yeah.
But it's usually not because your manager this, the area this. It's usually you.
Yeah.
You're being soft. You're not a dog. Okay, let's change that. Let's reinvent yourself. Today I'm this. And going forward, that's who you need to be. And I think a lot of times you need to realize what your best week is now needs to be your minimum, right? I made $4,000 last week. Okay, you're never making that again. That's it. That's the floor, right? And it's thinking bigger and accomplishing more. And a lot of times, dude, you people work as hard as they feel they're worth. And you got to start thinking like, yo, I'm worth a lot more than what I'm currently doing.
Yeah, dude, that makes sense. So if you heard that, guys, people work as hard as they think they're worth. And you got to start thinking you're worth more than that. So it's a lot of self-esteem things.
100%.
So.
Dude, this game's all confidence. This game's all confidence and reassurance. And like, that's why for me, it's like, dude, I don't care what people say.
Yeah.
I got dudes that are as loyal as they come. Like, and for me, it's like knowing that it's like, hey, I'm in that circle.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, it's this. Okay, before we worked at everyone hated Todd.
Yeah.
At least where I worked, it's like Todd sucks. He's this.
Yeah.
He's an egotistic. He's this. Then I met Todd, and it's like, no, Todd's a dog. Todd's one of the few people on this planet I'd go work for.
Yeah.
And him and me have been ups and downs. We're actually, we hash our things out. But it's like I look back and I'm like, no, Todd was a dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't tell me some dude that went to Harvard's a dog.
Yeah.
Todd's a dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, for me, it's like, dude, everyone's always, people, once you're at the top, what do they say? Do you see the movie Air? So okay, what they say, like Matt Damon's giving this pitch. He's like, dude, get in the tops, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, but once you're at the top, we have this it's in human nature. Yeah. We want to see you fail. We want to see you fall. And in that moment, you're going to realize who you are. And then he's like, who are you, Michael Jordan? And I think that's the question you got to ask yourself, like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, if you know who you are, nothing phases you.
Yeah.
That's why the noise, like, that's irrelevant because I know who I am. I know who my people are. I know what I want to go accomplish. And I'm going to go do it. And nothing's going to get in my way. You know what I mean? That's how it is.
Man, Jordan, dropping the heat, guys. Jordan, thank you freaking so much for coming up, throwing down.
Anything for you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And, me and Jordan have been selling against each other for years, and now we're working on a consultative basis now, and it's good to see his business grow. So what's the name of your company, man? So it's like New Sun. So New Sun, where are you operating out of right now?
Man, everywhere. Honestly, I feel like I bet 70% of our business is California. A lot of East Coast, a lot of retail, a lot of strategic partnerships with Home Depots, Lowe's, ADT, Google. We're putting Google products in every home. We're getting about a 45% attachment rate on conversion into security. Just trying to figure out, hey, what works, what doesn't.
Yeah.
And more importantly, go run the best setter closer program, but also bring in retail, bring in leads. We have a 30-man call center. Yeah. It's just thinking outside the box. And it's not just there's not just one way to do it. There's 3, 4, 5 different ways.
Yeah.
I want to go execute on all those ways.
And for people listening, you said it yourself, the setter closer model. Do you feel that's the best way to sell solar?
I think it's the only way to sell solar.
Did.
Yeah.
I've been saying that.
And dude, this is what I would say. I think sometimes it's hard to teach old dogs new tricks.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I was forced into a situation where traditional solar wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
I was transitioning 300 plus guys. A lot of them were very young. You look at these solar companies that don't do setter closer. It's an old sales force.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not saying it's bad. I think there's dudes at Sunrun that are super talented.
Yeah.
I think there's leadership at Sunrun super talented. I think there's dudes that
you're crushing.
Yeah, but
getting up there.
But
it's great.
For me, it's like, hey, I had a young sales force. Yeah. And so I thought, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds weren't going to go have a lot of success closing solar, having the same skill set we had to go have.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, the only way we can go do this is setter closer.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was forced into not a predicament, forced into like, this is a lane I got to go execute in. I got to go figure it out. We got to go do it on a high level. And for me, dude, and if you ask any of these dudes that were the top reps over where we used to work, they would say it's the only way to sell solar. Yeah. But it's also all they know. And so I'm not trying to knock on people that do it other ways. This is the way we're doing it, and this is the way we're going to continue to do it. And we've had a lot of success doing it.
Yeah, and I've seen it, man. It's been cool to see because, we were self-gen guys, like our whole career.
Yeah.
And then I did solar self-genning. Then I built a team and then setter closer and ended up doing like 80 deals in 3 months. Yep. It's like incredible how fantastic the setter closer model is. It helps everybody out.
It allows guys to go focus on their most profitable skill set. And more importantly, it's like having a clear path, a progression of a rep. So a setter knows this is the next step. And this is what I got to do to get there. It's like, dude, go be Dennis Rodman, 29 rebounds, 0 points. Yeah. But the time's going to come where we're going to ask you to go be Carmelo Anthony. Right? Yeah. 52 points, 0 steals, 0 assists, just score, right? Yeah. And so it's understanding the lane you're in, executing on that lane, understanding what I need to go do to progress to the next step, and then going and doing it.
And do you think that there's for your personal organization, is the finish line being the top setter, or is it always finishing up as a closer?
In what sense?
So it's like you recruit a guy, is the finish line to be a closer?
No. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Like, I feel like as a leader, what you can go hang your hat on is how well you can progress your people.
Yeah.
And I think if you can't progress your people, you're not a leader.
Yeah.
And I also think you're not going to go run an organization that has rapid growth if you're not progressing your people and you don't have a clear path to progress your people. And I feel like that's where people get caught up is, closers like, I have all these setters. It's like, well, okay, that's not going to last forever because people wake up and their skill sets are going to catch up and you got to progress those people. And so you got to be a good recruiter backfilling. You got to have systems to go backfill. You got to rely on leadership to go backfill. And I think guys that don't progress their people, they get kicked aside and they get passed. And if you're playing the long-term game, the goal is not to get lapped. Yeah. The goal is to keep going. You know what I mean?
So when a setter gets to a certain point, you are transitioning.
100%.
Okay, not a setter manager forever. It's like, no, we're going to get 100%. 100%. And then,
because, dude, what's the goal? The goal is to go have 5,000 closers.
Yeah.
Well, how do you make money as a business when money gets closed and installed and you get paid? Not set, right? But you have to have a path. You have to have setting. You have to go have, hey, it's a wide funnel. Anyone can do it. Yeah. And then there has to be a path to go progress for people.
Got it. And that's what you felt you dialed in as the path from being a setter, joining in all the way to that. Cool, man. Dude, love it, Jordan. And so where can they find out more about you? Where can they find more about Nissan? What's Instagram? I know you don't have an Instagram.
Yeah, Nissan has Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't do the social media thing, mainly because, like you said, head down. You know what I mean? Like, okay, what's the best revenge? Yes, it's success, right? And I think in this industry, people get caught up. They want to see fit.
Yeah.
So what can you go do? I'm going to make $1 million.
That's it, dude. So reach out to @NewSun. Yeah. Okay. And then what markets? NewSun Power. What markets are you currently? Mostly California.
Everywhere, man. California, Boston, Connecticut, Florida, Texas, Vegas, Utah, Arizona, Georgia, right? Kind of anywhere you can go do solar at. And I think solar's in its infancy. I think it's just getting started. I think the next 10 years is the greatest opportunity door to door. And I think there's people 2 years ago that said solar's just a money grab. No, do this. This is proven. Yeah. Now they're doing solar. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, and it's like, dude, we're selling solar today in markets that 2 years ago you would laugh at. Yeah. You said, I'm doing solar in Wichita, Kansas. Yeah. Then like, nah, we're killing. You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of times in the space, you got to be open-minded and dude, your best power is the ability to adapt, the ability to change, and that's consistent. Like, change is always going to happen, and so I want to stay ahead of the curve and keep adapting. And, next 10 years is a huge gold rush. But dude, if you go back to like the California gold rush, everyone knew it was a gold rush, but very few people made money. And for me as a leader, I don't want 10 years to pass and we look back and be like, oh, we didn't capitalize. I want to look back and be like, we did it.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah. And what would you say the future of NewSun is?
Wow.
Where are you taking this then?
Yeah, good question. People ask that all the time. It's expanding not only setter closer, running the best setter closer program in America, but now it's branching into retail, which we've done. I bet 20% of our business.
Yeah, you're in Lowe's now. Yeah. So if you guys are tired of knocking.
Yeah. It's been good. It's been good to go have another avenue to go staff stores to go get more sets for closers and then go recruit more closers, right? So we're in retail. About 20% of our business comes from that. Another 20% comes from our call center. And then it's strategic partnerships, which we kind of talked about before this, with Google, with ADT Solar, things transitioning and going down a path that I think looks very bright.
Yeah, that's sick, man. It's cool to see you grow, man. It's been so cool. I remember right when you came over to Vivint, we talked in 2013 on the phone, and I'm like, bro, this is tiring, man. It's like, yeah, man, we're selling higher RMRs, but we ended up both crushing it, and we texted for like 2 or 3 years before we met each other in person, and then, me, you would go and start hanging out all the Vivint events, and yeah, it was fun. So, dude, glad to see how much you've grown, dude, and the organization's been crushing. So
it's been a good round.
If you guys want more information or hear about how to get involved with New Sun, reach out to their Instagram and, have a chance to meet them and participate with some of the dogs. So thanks for coming in to jam with us, Benny. Appreciate you, yeah, much love. See you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Danny Pessy Show.